Adventurous kids, explore with education and learning what a wild life is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West. Adventurous kids, learning and fun. Adventurous kids!
Today I'm going to tell you about Ludwig van Beethoven. Ludwig van Beethoven was a German composer. He created some of the most influential music in history. He transformed many traditional forms of Western classical music. For example, he set new standards for the symphony, creating longer pieces that expressed important ideas and deep feelings rather than just serving as an entertainment. His works include 9 symphonies, 1 opera, and many pieces for small groups and for piano and other solo instruments. Very little is known about Beethoven's childhood. He was baptized on December 17th, 1770, and was probably born a few days before that in Bonn, Germany. Beethoven's father forced him to practice the keyboard for hours when he was a child. His father wanted Beethoven to be like Mozart. A keyboard instrument is a musical instrument that uses a keyboard to produce sound. The keys are levers that the player presses with their fingers. He learned musical composition from the official organist in nobleman's court. Beethoven became the assistant organist at the age of 11 and published his first musical composition soon after. In 1787, Beethoven went to Vienna hoping to study with the great composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He had to return home right away, however, because his mother was sick. 5 years later, Beethoven settled in Vienna permanently, but by that time, Mozart had died, and Beethoven was able to study with Joseph Haydn and other famous composers. Beethoven's music usually is divided into 3 periods: early, middle, and late. Ludwig van Beethoven's first period composition lasted until 1802. During this time, he was inspired by Mozart and Haydn and wanted to create his own style. Ludwig van Beethoven's second period of musical composition lasted from 1801 to 1814. It was a time when he composed many of his most famous works, including the Eroica Symphony and Symphony Number 5. This period was also known as his heroic period. Ludwig van Beethoven's third period of musical composition was from 1814 to 1827. This period was marked by a wide range of harmonies and textures. Some of his most well-known works from this period were the Ninth Symphony and the Hammerklavier Sonata. Beethoven became known as the highly skilled piano player. Many of Vienna's wealthy residents enjoyed his music and gave him money to live on. In 1800, he performed some of his work at a large public concert in Vienna. This event helped him to become widely famous. In the late 1790s, Beethoven began to lose his hearing. For some time, he continued to compose and perform as before, but by 1819, Beethoven had become totally deaf, meaning he couldn't hear. From then on, he no longer performed as much in public, spending most of his energy composing music. In his last years, Beethoven created longer and more complicated pieces. Beethoven died in Vienna on March 26, 1827. About 20,000 people came to the streets for his funeral. The famous poet Franz Gilparzer wrote the funeral speech. The masterpieces he created continued to be performed nearly 2 centuries after his death. There is a museum, the Beethoven House, the place of his birth, in central Bonn, the same city. He has hosted a musical festival, the Beethoven Fest, since 1845. The festival was initially irregular but has been organized annually since 2007. The third largest crater on Mercury, the first planet from the sun, is named in his honor, as is the main belt asteroid 1815 Beethoven. Thank you for watching this episode of Adventurous Kids. Yeah!
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids.
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous